Do any of your Hashimoto's patients require iodine to lower antibodies? Line diet for 3 months, and antibodies are still high. TPO is over 1,000, and TG is over 500. So not necessarily, lower they don't necessarily need iodine to lower their antibodies. They may need iodine if they're deficient, and that just comes from the soil. If it's not in the soil, it's not going to get in the grass. It's not going to get in the meat. If it's not in the soil, it's not going to get in the broccoli. It's just not going to get in the food. So check your iodine, and if you are deficient, then eating richer iodine foods. I mean, seafood will typically have quite a lot of iodine, just because the ocean is quite replete with iodine. So that's like sort of the ocean soil is just the water, right? So the water is usually quite replete with iodine, and so seafood typically is a good source of iodine. And if you need to supplement with drops, just do that gently, I don't think that taking iodine is dangerous for most people. There are suggestions in the literature to say that you want to be careful with Hashimoto's and supplementing iodine for some reason that can exacerbate Hashimoto's. I don't know why that would be. I don't know if that applies to carnivores. May or may not. There's a lot of differences between these groups. People that eat differently. But at the end of the day, you need iodine. But just playing devil's advocate and just being safe, playing on the safe side, just might as well just go slowly, check your iodine again, and just use the least amount that you need to get you in an optimal range for iodine. As far as your antibodies are concerned, that shouldn't really be required to lower your antibodies. It can take well over a year or two before you get your antibodies down to nothing. Think about celiac disease. Now, I do a video on YouTube called "The Real Cause of Autoimmune Diseases," and I talk about my theory on what autoimmunity is and how it's not really autoimmune. I don't think that it is. And I look at it, and one of the examples I use is celiac disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease, but it's called a gluten-mediated autoimmune disease. And that's because you have to eat gluten in order to have this so-called autoimmune condition. So is that really an autoimmune condition if you need something else to kick it off? I would argue that it's not. And here's why. So gluten is a lectin. That's a plant toxin. It's a protein with a carbohydrate substructure. It can bind to all sorts of different antigens on the surface of your cells. And so it binds and damages your gut cells called your enterocytes, and that can cause leaky gut. That can cause all sorts of different gut permeability problems and issues as well. So whenever your body's being attacked, you mount an immune response to this, right? That's a normal response. And so in this case, you're getting antibodies towards that gluten that is attacking your enterocytes, right? So you get these antibodies. Now they're attacking the gluten that's on your enterocytes, but now there's this gluten enterocyte complex or gluten antigen complex, and those antibodies may be attacking those, but the cells are getting hit in the crossfire. So this is like civilian casualties. So the antibodies aren't attacking your body; they're attacking the gluten that is attacking your body. So it's mounting a defense, right? But because that gluten is stuck to your cells are getting hit in the crossfire, right? And so this damages your villi and your microvilli. It gets flattening. You get malabsorption issues. You get all sorts of problems. But then when you remove the gluten, problem goes away and your body stops attacking the gluten and the tissue can heal. And in a number of weeks, even 4 to 6 weeks, you can get a complete revitalization of your enterocytes and your villi and your microvilli, right? Even though the antibodies stay elevated for up to 3 years after your last exposure to gluten. And that's important because those antibodies are not now attacking your body. So that's not an autoimmune disease, is it? Because those antibodies are not attacking your body. They're attacking the gluten. And I think that's what's going on with all autoimmune conditions, including Hashimoto's. And so it can take a while for these things. I mean, gluten is just in your gut and then comes out, and then you stop eating it, goes away. But these other lectins and other sorts of things, glyphosate, all these other sorts of things, they can get in your body and potentially attack different tissues and organs and things like that, and have your body mount an immune response as a result of that. That can stay in your system for a while. It can take a while for your body to clear that. So you may have ongoing sort of symptoms. And obviously, if you keep ingesting these things, that can keep reintroducing these problem sort of chemicals into your body, which is why like a lion diet, just ruminant meat, like beef and lamb, seems to work best for people with autoimmune conditions, because I think that it's just eliminating out absolutely as much of these potential problems that will attack your body and your body then responds to with antibodies as possible. Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys. Even then, if you get rid of all these things, you may still have these antibodies elevated. But if this theory is true, which, it is theory, then those antibodies shouldn't be doing anything negative to your body, just like in celiac, right? And so but they're waiting there to pounce, right? And so the second you eat something you're not supposed to, and those things hit onto your thyroid, you've got all these antibodies that are just waiting to just blow it up. And so you can have a serious problem. And of course, then the antibodies will go up again because, we have a problem. So, when you get exposed to some sort of pathogen and you may mount an immune response to them, you keep these antibodies around for a long time. This is the premise behind vaccines, right? And so then you're mounting this immune response, but then you track your titers over time, and you can see that they're actually still elevated for a while, and they might go a bit lower and a bit lower. And so to work in the hospitals, you have to be inoculated to hepatitis B, among other things. And so you have to check your hepatitis B titers and make sure that you have a high enough antibody level that if you get exposed with like a needle prick or get exposed to somebody's blood and they have hepatitis B, which is very contagious, that it's not going to that your antibodies are high enough that you'll be able to just stomp these things down before they get in and start causing damage to your liver, right? And so that can be the same thing with Hashimoto's, right? So, and with celiac, again, 3 years, these things can be elevated, right? So you have very elevated Hashimoto's antibodies. And so it can take years before those things come down, but they do sort of steadily come down, steadily come down, steadily come down. That's sort of what a normal thing that we see with antibodies in general, but it could be that even though these things are elevated, as long as you're eating properly, they hopefully won't be attacking and damaging your thyroid. So long story short, no, I don't think you need iodine in order to lower your antibodies, because I think there's a different mechanism going on. You need iodine for other reasons though. So make sure you're getting enough iodine, and then just keep track of your antibodies. Be very strict. Red meat and water, because that's the thing with Hashimoto's is, if you have Crohn's disease and you eat something that you shouldn't, you have bloody diarrhea for the next 3 days and you're hating life. And so you're like, okay, I'm never eating that again. It's very, very, very self-motivating. Hashimoto's, it can take longer than that. You may just feel run down in the next sort of week or two and not even realize it was because you had something outside of plan. Some people with autoimmune issues can't deal with monogastric animals like pigs and chicken, fish. If they're farm raised and they're being fed a bunch of corn, soy, and garbage that they're not designed to eat, they're not going to be able to process those toxins properly, and it's going to get into their meat and their fat, and that can get into you. And you can get these lectins and glyphosates and all these other sorts of things. And whereas the ruminant animals, because of their complex digestive tract and ability to ferment the food first, they take out a lot of those toxins and even glyphosate before you absorb it. I've seen articles talking about how it appears that ruminant animals can actually break down glyphosate, which is really important because that's just everywhere now. And it's in the bloody rainwater in some places now. So, it's something to think about. And so really, really, really want to just stick to just red meat and water. And, I had, I'll give you a timeline here from what I've seen. So I had a lady that had her TPO antibodies were 650 and her TG antibodies were 50. And after 8 months of a strict lion diet, her TPO went from 650 down to 50, and her TG went from 50 to 0, or, non-detectable anyway. So, but that's in 8 months of being perfect, right? If you're not perfect, it's like you're getting exposed to that pathogen again, and that immune response is going to spike up again, right? So if you go and, travel somewhere and just say, oh, well, I'm just going to let it go for a couple of weeks because, I'm on vacation or whatever, you might feel pretty wretched for the next several weeks after that. And you could check your antibodies. They might have spiked up again. So spike up real quick and take a very long time to come down. And then you eat something else, spikes up again. So you have to think about this in that context. Anytime you eat, you're exposing yourself to another pathogen. Your body's going to jack up your immune response. So keep that in mind.
Hey everyone, really happy to announce a new sponsor for the show and for everybody down in Australia, Stockman Steaks, who are delivering high quality grass-fed and finished pasture-raised beef and other meats, flash frozen and vacuum sealed to your door, something that I've been enjoying a lot of myself recently as well. They also have a great range of specialty items such as high-fat keto mince and carnivore beef and organs mince with liver, kidneys, and beef heart as well. So use code Chaffee today for a free order of beef mince or another specialty gift along with your order at stockmansteaks.com.au, and I'll see you over there. Thanks, guys.
Matt says that he has all the symptoms of hypothyroidism, low T and low in some minerals and vitamins. Had 3 thyroid tests monthly. TSH is 2.4, 2.2, 1.8, and then 4.3, and plus patient 2. I don't know what that is. Oh, part 2. Okay, let's see if we can find part 2. Might be a bit of a pain in the ass. Where is that? Where's part 2? Oh, it's actually another super chat. Okay, so here we go. And Matt says part 2. Test the day. Prescribed came back 1.7. Now confused. Free T3 and 4 generally okay. Free T3 was low once. Reverse T3 is high. Been carnivore for 4 months. Any ideas? And there's a part 3. Let's see if I can put all these together in my head. Got low levels of TPO antibodies, which is the Hashimoto's antibodies, just under normal. So that's the thing. These reference ranges for the antibodies are a bit weird because they're saying below this amount of antibodies is normal. Well, if you have antibodies towards, for an autoimmune condition, then you have that autoimmune condition by definition. That's how you diagnose these things. And it just means that you're not in a flare up. And so, which, if you've been carnivore for 3 months, that can help bring those levels down. But if you have antibodies, then you have that condition, right? So even though it's under the normal level, I would say that you do have Hashimoto's disease, right? He goes on to say that no improvements and not sure whether to keep taking levothyroxine or wait it out a bit. Well, as long as first of all, I can't give out any specific medical advice, because you're not my patient, but You can't give that over the internet, but just generally speaking, you need to work with your doctor to try to get you on the right levels of thyroid hormone to get your TSH really under 2 is ideal. The reference range goes from like 0.5 to 4.5 is a pretty normal reference range for TSH. But anything TSH above 2.0 actually doubles your risk for developing thyroid cancer. So that's obviously not a good reference range. So above 2 is not acceptable in my mind. So you need that below 2. Really below 1.5 is ideal, but below 2 anyway. And so you seem to be there. That's great. But then you also need to look at your T4 and your T3. You can have perfectly normal and even optimal levels of T4, and you may have pretty substandard T3 if you're not converting T4 into T3. T4 converts into T3. T3 does the work. And so being low on zinc, for example, can mean that you won't convert T4 into T3. There are other reasons as well, but zinc is a major one. And so, you make sure that you have enough zinc. Beef is an excellent source of zinc. The best source of zinc are oysters, and second best is beef. And so, the meat products that you're eating, should help with your zinc, but that can take time to come up as well. So, if you have optimal levels of T4 and optimal levels of TSH, but you're not converting into T3, you can still feel pretty crummy. So think about that. And also your reverse T3 basically counteracts your free T3 and makes it so it doesn't work properly, right? So it slows it down. So you look at that ratio between those two, and if your reverse T3 is high, you can actually lower your thyroid function. So that's important to understand as well. I would definitely keep it up, and I would get onto your doctor about getting you on the proper dose of either levothyroxine, which is T4, or if it's not getting into T3 properly, even taking like a slow release T3 or desiccated pig thyroid is it's called different things in different countries, but it's a prescription, and that can give you all the T's: T0, T1, T2, T3, and T4. So it gives you all those T's, and so that's important to look at as well. It may be that you need something besides just T4. That's what's commonly prescribed for people, and some doctors will be like, no, that's the only thing you need, but it's not really. There's some people that don't convert properly, so that's the other thing you need to think about. And you need to get someone who understands about reverse T3, because you might need to get up to a slightly higher level with your T3 in order to offset that reverse T3. And and that's just one of the ways your body actually slows down your metabolism if you're doing long-term fast or you're in a famine or something like that. One of the things that happens is your reverse T3 goes up to dampen the effects of your T3. That's the idea anyway. And so if that's elevated, it may take some time before that can come down. Eating enough, showing your body that you're not in a famine, you don't need to slow down your metabolism, encouraging your metabolism to go up instead of down. And it may be that you need just more medication support, more thyroid support in the meantime until that sorts itself out. So, some things to look at anyway. And so 3 is great, and 2.9 is a catastrophe. Like, they're basically the same, aren't they? So if we're calling 2.9 bad, we should probably be thinking about 3 as bad too. So you want to be more into the middle of that range. Above 4 is where I'd like to see people's T3.